Hello and howdy, folks. Last night I checked out Los Angeles' newest art house, the Sundance Cinema, to watch Searching for Sugar Man, and I enjoyed it. It's a documentary about Rodriguez, a musical artist, musician, born and raised in Detroit, lived his life in Detroit. In the early 70s, he put out 2 albums and had a unfinished 3rd album. They had, zero play here. To quote one of the people in the film, Rodriguez never happened in America. But somehow, and the actual story has been lost to legend, but somehow one of his albums made its way over to South Africa at the height of the apartheid. And Rodriguez's songs were mostly about fighting the establishment, about love, about sex, which were all banned at that time in South Africa. So he became this underground folk hero, and over time, again, this film starts in the early 70s, and by the late 90s, he's bigger than Elvis in South Africa. The only thing is he has absolutely no idea. He continues his very simple, basic life in Detroit without any knowledge of his beyond superstardom in, one of the larger countries of the world. So it's basically about that. The film is made by South Africans. I was trying to remember his name, but it is definitely an African name. Lots of syllables, lots of vowels, and I can't even attempt his name. But he directed it, he produced it, he edited it, and I think I would, be pretty sure that he was also the narrator / interviewer of all the subjects. So this is definitely a passion project. You can just tell that the love of the people from South Africa. Again, like when I say that he is bigger than Elvis, I mean that literally. I mean, he is bigger than Elvis. He is huge. He fills stadiums there. And, here in America, in Detroit, he's confused as a homeless person. So it's very interesting. I'm going to give the film an 8. I really love documentaries. I think that film is an excellent teaching tool, and the documentary obviously is a teaching opportunity, something to learn, and I think that holds true here. I just wish that, well, I don't know, maybe that they would have let Rodriguez talk more, or it's basically just on a meditation on fame, and do you need it? What does it mean? What is the nature of fame? Why can one person be a cultural icon and hero in one place, and again confused as a homeless person in another? I wish that it had more to say. I felt that a lot of the interviews that were given were slightly open-ended. I don't know. I just wanted something more out of it. I couldn't help but think of 2 films that I found better, but I always say that if a film makes you think of other films that are perhaps even better, then that film itself must be, pretty damn good. I'll try and get to the films I'm talking about. Well, I guess I'll do that right now. On the poster it says, from the producer of Man on Wire. And so I was really excited to see it because I absolutely loved Man on Wire. Man on Wire is, I think I put that at either number 2 or 3 on my top 10 list of that year. I think it's one of the better documentaries in recent memory. I love films about uncompromising people, humans, artists that live life by their own rules and don't pay heed to what other people think. Those are my heroes. And Rodriguez, the subject of Sugar Man, is definitely one of those figures. I just don't think it delves into him as much as I wanted it to, or it could have. It focuses on his music. The soundtrack is entirely, Rodriguez. It comes from all 2 of his finished and 1/3 unfinished album. All the music comes from those sources. And it is good. You've probably never heard the music. You've probably never even heard of Rodriguez the artist. The music is very good. If I had to pin it down, I would just call it Dylan-esque. It's obvious that this guy at some point heard Bob Dylan, and he was also, very good, very talented. His wordplay is fantastic. All of his songs ring of truth. And again, you see a lot of people in the music business who love Rodriguez and were amazed and flabbergasted that Rodriguez just never caught on. It just didn't happen. So I still appreciate that aspect. I think it should have gotten more into what makes Rodriguez tick. But all the time they talk about the mystery of Rodriguez. Again, in South Africa, all they had was like the album cover. They couldn't, because Rodriguez was not popular in the States, there was no information on him. No one knew who he was. So whenever the people in South Africa would try and, call America or find out anything from America, when tourists would come from America, or when, they would go to America and ask about Rodriguez, tell me about Rodriguez, they would be met with, dumbfounded silence. So they just, keep talking about this mystery. So I guess it does hold true that the film doesn't reveal too much about him, about his artistic process. It just definitely tells about his family. So it does keep some of that all-important mystique intact. So I guess I can't complain too much. I also thought of the film Senna, last year's documentary about the race car driver Ayrton Senna. Again, one of the better documentaries in recent memory, one of the better films of last year. Again, it made me think of that, and Senna was a far better film than this, but still along that same line. There's a lot of passion here. There's a lot of love. We get to meet a lot of people in South Africa. We get to learn a lot about the apartheid, who was in control, what was going on there. We get to see some, finally they find Sugar Man. I hope I'm not spoiling anything there. The name of the film is called Searching for Sugar Man, and they do find him. They do bring him to South Africa in 1998, where he has since played some 30 shows to sold-out arenas. And it's, that's the most interesting part to me, is to see that difference, to see that contrast, because here in America, he works construction, and not even like, high-class construction. He guts old abandoned homes and knocks out walls and, takes what can be salvaged and, again, works 10, 12-hour days and does nothing but back-breaking labor, all day, and comes home and he's beat and he's covered with sweat and dust and paint. And then he goes to South Africa and he rides in limos and stays in the absolute best hotels, and again plays concerts to sold out arenas. And it's interesting, to see that duality. and how it affects him. And I mean, that's what I could have used more of, is the psychology of it all, is what does he think about it. But again, they want to keep that mystery intact. They actually talk more to his daughters than they do to him. And, you know, we don't even find out about his wife. You know, how did he have the daughters? Who did he have the daughters with? We don't, you know, we don't know that. But you can tell that, you know, everyone in South Africa is just so happy to, you know their hero, even more so. It just never gripped my heart all that much. I can remember with Man on Wire and watching Senna just being moved. You know, there's no other word for it. You know, just being powerfully gripped and moved by this film, by those films. And that just never really happened here. It just never sunk its teeth in. It would, you know, try and get into your brain, but then all of a sudden it would just retreat and just say, okay, you know, you don't need to know everything. And I wanted to know everything. The music was really good. I don't think I'm going to rush out and buy a Rodriguez album. I'm not entirely sure you can buy a Rodriguez album. In fact, maybe when I'm done here, I'll get on Amazon and see if I can purchase any Rodriguez. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. If you like rock and roll, if you like music, you're definitely going to like this film. I could tell that the people I saw this film with were, music, musicians probably. A lot of them were rocking out to the music. So yeah, if you are fascinated by rock and roll, fame, artists, I definitely would recommend this film. It's really interesting, again, to see that, what does fame mean? What is fame? Do we even need it? Why do we want it? That's what I found myself thinking about in the minutes after watching this film. So that's... and there's a lot about artistic expression. I mean, and the importance of the expression of the artist. So, it's good. I wouldn't... it's really, really good. I wouldn't call it great. There's no way you could call it bad. Just because it's very inspirational. It makes you feel good. And it also makes you think. So there's no way you can really deride it. But there are a handful of other better examples. But I still enjoy this film a lot. So that's the new documentary, Searching for Sugar Man. And I give it a solid 8. Thank you very much.